Ship ahoy there, mateys. I'm Captain Yawn. As you can see, I have my captain's hat on. That actually came from a rock group from the 1970s called Captain Beyond. It was kind of a esoteric rock group that one of my friends really liked, Captain Beyond, and I didn't want to use that name. People call me Captain Yawn from beyond. So I'm going to be discussing a Halloween program, and the Halloween program is going to be about the Bermuda Triangle, and it's going to be based on a children's book that I actually picked up. Has a cosmic question. It says, "Where is the Bermuda Triangle?" It's by Megan Stein. And this was actually the only book that I could find about the Bermuda Triangle. They don't seem to have too many books at one of the bookstores there. But this was good enough because I'm going to have a listing of some of the things that actually happened at the Bermuda Triangle, and they have a listing in the back of the book. They call it the timeline of the Bermuda Triangle. I want to read some of this stuff, but I want to set up my thing here because I have the Bermuda Triangle boat here that some people might be interested in hopping on, but I would say that enter at your own risk. So I'm going to have the boat here as a prop, and I have the Bermuda Triangle communicator here that it's a special item here that I'm going to plug in. And as you can see, it's flashing there. It means that it's now getting into contact with the special forces at the Bermuda Triangle. So we're going to be asking some questions about the Bermuda Triangle. And I want to do a test because I use a crystal here. Now, the crystal is basically a spiritual thing, and so I'm going to ask the question here. Show me a yes. And the crystal goes clockwise. Now I'm going to stop and I'm going to say, show me a no. So as you can see, the crystal does move by itself. I'm not twirling it around. People say, oh, you're twirling it around, you're moving it around. It actually moves by itself. Some people have more powers than others. I've been doing this, I don't know, I think maybe for 30 years or so. Since the 70s, I used to watch TV programs, and they were showing various things such as crystals and things, so I went to check it out. Some people, they say, show me a yes, and it'll go right and left, and show me a no, and it'll go up and down. I mean, people have different responses. If you do buy a crystal, you may want to try it on your hand here and have it on your primary hand if you're right-handed. Then you can show it on your hand here and you say, show me a yes. And as you can see, my yes is a clockwise, and show me a no, and my no is a counterclockwise. So the crystal does have some kind of influence with the spirit world. Some people don't believe in that. They're basically science-oriented, and if they can't prove something, they don't believe in it. As you know about all this stuff about the vaccine and everything, some people believe in it, some people don't. So everybody has a different perspective on just about anything in life. It doesn't really matter what it is. I mean, it could be talking about sushi or something. So, because people do have questions, and I'm trying to have the crystal give you answers, but the crystal really doesn't want to deal with the general public. The crystal is kind of finicky. It kind of works, and sometimes it doesn't work there. And sometimes people do have a lot of power in that they work with the crystal. Now, I had done a program some years ago, and I used the crystal just to show that the crystal does do some kind of unusual things. And I had it in the bathroom there, and I showed it over the toilet. So we had the crystal was going clockwise over the toilet. Is that correct? Yeah, because it was water. But what happened when I flushed the toilet? The crystal would do something else. I flushed the toilet, and the crystal went counterclockwise. I put that on tape there. I don't know if anybody actually saw that. It was, I don't know, maybe 15 years ago. But you could try this yourself. You can take your pet crystal, and remember, you do have to go and try it out, because sometimes the crystal might not work with you. You might have to be seeing if the crystal works with you or not. And basically, you use your prominent hand and ask to show me a yes, and then show me a no. And I'm not moving my hand around there. So that was one example of the crystal there, because the crystal likes to be dealing with the spirit world, but it doesn't deal with everybody. Sometimes the crystal may not work with a certain person, and then he's a non-believer, like they call them infidels. They're non-believers. So sometimes it's kind of difficult to say that the crystal will give you answers, but you need to actually try this out. And another test you can do with the crystal, you might be a little scared about doing this, but you go to a cemetery and you put the crystal over a gravestone. And you put the crystal over a gravestone, and will it sometimes say yes? And sometimes it'll say no? So when you put the crystal over the gravestone, sometimes it'll kind of give you a yes or a no. So what does that mean? Does that mean that the no, it's like, no, you're not going to an alternative reality? I'm going to be discussing the Bermuda Triangle, and I'm going to read some of the items from this book, The Cosmic Question, Where is the Bermuda Triangle? Well, some people may not know exactly where it is, but we're going to be having a little map probably for you. But I'm going to read this thing from the book here, because I thought it was quite interesting, because they do have a listing here. So I'm going to list the timeline of the Bermuda Triangle. Now, I can't really see very good because I have these glasses on, so I'm going to try to see if I can see these dates. It says 1492, Columbus has compass problems in the Sargasso Sea. And as you can see, I do have a compass on here, and the compass is related to the spirit forces in the earth there. And obviously Columbus had trouble with the compass, and they have a listing in the book here. So 1492, Columbus. Now they have the next thing, 1880. British ship Atlanta leaves Bermuda and vanishes. This was in 1880. 1881. Ship Ellen Austin supposedly spots a ghost ship and tries to save it. The second crew disappears. 1909. World's best sailor at the time was Joshua Slocum, and he is lost at sea, possibly in the Bermuda Triangle. And he was the best sailor that they said was out using boats. 1918, Navy ship Cyclops disappears without sending an SOS. Now, if you don't know what SOS is, that's a Morse code. Some people say, save our ship. Some other people would say, save our souls. So you can take your pick there. But they didn't send an SOS. 1921, ghost ship Carol A. Deering is found abandoned off North Carolina. Well, this ghost ship possibly came from the Bermuda Triangle. Now we have 1945. 5 U.S. Navy planes disappear off the coast of Florida, as does a rescue plane sent to find them. And obviously, the Bermuda Triangle is connected to the coast of Florida. 1948, airliner Star Tiger disappears on its way to Bermuda. Another strange thing there. DC-3 plane vanishes at Christmas time with passengers aboard. This was 1948. 1964. The term Bermuda Triangle is coined by a writer because they had some kind of unusual things that happened there, so they used the name Bermuda Triangle. 1965, flying boxcar vanishes only 45 minutes away from the Bahamas. And the Bahamas are part of the Bermuda Triangle. 1967, 3 planes disappear in 1 week over the triangle. 1967. That's when Sgt. Pepper came out, the Beatles there, and they used a lot of mysticism, the Beatles. I'm a big Beatle fan, so I kind of think about Beatles because they always had some kind of secret messages that they would send out. They'd like to play their music backwards and stuff and send out secret messages, but some people believed it and some people don't. You know, like John Lennon, I think, was saying, I buried Paul, you know, because they were having the Paul is dead thing and everybody was getting all excited about that, but it was just one of those kind of a Beatle thing. Okay, 1975, librarian Larry David Kush publishes a book solving the mystery of the triangle. Well, he's talking about some of the occurrences that happen in the triangle, like hurricanes and bad weather, and he's attributing some of these occurrences to the weather or something like that. And that's what they do with UFOs. They won't believe in UFOs. They'll come up with some kind of other excuse. So he's kind of using hurricanes and bad weather. They say, oh, they had bad weather, so the boat sunk. Possibly, but we're not really too sure about that. 1977, the movie Close Encounters of the Third Kind depicts pilots from Flight 19. And that was a pretty good movie, but I don't really remember. It was quite a while ago, 1977. I did like to go see movies, and that was one of the movies I did see. 1991, Cougar Jet disappears on Halloween. Well, we're talking about the Bermuda Triangle because I'm recording this. It's close to Halloween, and in my opinion, the Bermuda Triangle, every day is Halloween. Oh, every day. It's great. It's Halloween. We're over to the Bermuda Triangle. So everybody who's a big Halloween fan, they might want to head over to the Bermuda Triangle. So that's some of the information in the timeline of the Bermuda Triangle. They have on the opposite page here a timeline of the world, which is a little similar to the timeline of the Bermuda Triangle. It's similar. So, 1492, Christopher Columbus sails to the, quote, New World. Well, maybe it was the New World was in the Bermuda Triangle, because that's kind of an alternative reality. and his compass didn't work. He did go to the New World. 1844, Samuel Morse invents the telegraph and Morse code. SOS's ... dash, 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 ... I had one of those little things as a kid there. My parents bought me like a little telegraph, and they had the Morse code on there. Nobody really did much with the Morse code when I was a young kid there, but they did use a Morse code there years ago, so that was kind of like a little toy. 1869, first transcontinental railroad completed in the United States, because that was one of those important things that happened in the United States. 1879, Thomas A. Edison invents the practical electric light bulb. And electricity, in my opinion, does have some kind of connection to the spirit world. That's what we're seeing here. We're seeing the electricity here. So that's part of the spirit world. Some people believe it, some people don't. Okay, 1881, President James A. Garfield is shot and killed. Well, people get shot and killed all the time. I mean, it happens all the time. It might not be a cosmic event, but he was a president. 1908, Ford introduces the Model T car. So now most people drive a car. If you don't drive a car over the age of 18, some people think you're a little out of touch with society. They say, oh, you can use public transportation. Well, you can use public transportation. I used the bus for 3 years, and sometimes the bus is overcrowded there. So I don't know, most people prefer to have their own transportation. 1912, the Titanic hits an iceberg and sinks. Okay. 1914, World War I begins in Europe. 1917, the United States enters World War I. 1931, Empire State Building is completed. 1945, World War II ends when the United States drops 2 atomic bombs on Japan. Well, they didn't think too much about it at that time because of Asian hate. So it all started, I think, this Asian hate thing. You notice that we had World War II, the Korean War, the Vietnam War. There's a lot of Asian stuff there. So anyway, World War II ends when the United States drops 2 atomic bombs on Japan. I really think that was questionable. 1948, Israel is founded as a country. 1955, Disneyland opens in Anaheim, California. That was a big event. 1957, Soviet Union launches Sputnik, the first spacecraft. And that was a big deal there because the United States felt that they needed to compete with the Soviets. The Soviets were starting to get ahead of the United States. And now I think the Chinese are kind of getting ahead of the United States, and they're worried about the Chinese now. 1963, Martin Luther King Jr. gives his I Have a Dream speech in Washington, D.C. 1967, first heart transplant surgery is performed. Now the heart there, that has a major influence there with the spirit world. So, you need to have a heart transplant once in a while in order to keep in touch with the spirit world there. Actually, I enjoy going to sleep early in the evening. I try to go to sleep between 7 and 8 so I can have some dream adventures. I'll have some dream adventures there because of the spirit world. 1976, Apple Computer is founded by Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak. Yes, and the Apple Computer is one of those computers that a lot of people like to use. Okay, 1983, Sally Ride becomes the first American woman in space. Well, they don't list here that the thing blew up there. They don't want to be discussing that because this is a children's book. Okay, 1991, the internet becomes available to the public. So just think, we've been having the internet since 1991. Heavens to Murgatroyd. Anybody can go on the internet now, and sometimes there's stuff on the internet that you might agree with, and sometimes they have stuff that you don't agree with. So I think sometimes the internet is questionable. So we're going to be asking some questions here about the Bermuda Triangle here because I read from this children's book some of the things that happened over the last decades there, and they did have historical things that were separate from the Bermuda Triangle, but the Bermuda Triangle is what we're focusing on here. So I'm going to be asking my Crystal some questions here. Now, Mr. Communicator, we want to... Oh, wait a minute, I forgot something. I see I have my candles here. I need to light the candles. Come on, baby, light my fire. Come on, baby, light my fire. We got this candle's not working here. Oh, it's because it's sideways. You need to put it upright. We got the little candles there on display there. Now, let's see if we can get these candles going here. We need a little light here. Hopefully we'll get this thing going here. You know, this is playing with fire. We're playing with fire here because we're dealing with the Bermuda Triangle. I'll ask the Crystal some questions. Am I playing with fire here? Am I playing with fire? No, I'm not playing with fire. It says no. That's what the spirit world says. So, just to make a point here, show me a yes. Can you show me a yes? Okay. And can you show me a no? Alrighty. So I'm not really playing with fire. We're just using it as a little help to the communicator, kind of like a little enabler there. So now the Bermuda Triangle, do people believe in the Bermuda Triangle, the majority of the population? What's your opinion about that? Oh, they don't believe. The non-believers. Well, you know, the Muslims call the Christians infidels. So if you don't believe in the spirit world, maybe you might be classified as an infidel. I don't know. Do you want to be having infidel on your shirt, the infidel? I do not believe. You could have that printed up. You could walk around with it. I do not believe. Okay, so some people don't believe in the Bermuda Triangle, but did some of the boats actually sink in the Bermuda Triangle? What's your opinion on that? Oh, some of the boats did sink. Oh, they disappeared in the Bermuda Triangle. I read some of the boats there. They're actually ships. They're not a boat. This is a boat. It's a small thing. A boat is small and a ship is big. But this is, what we use on the Bermuda Triangle if you want to take a trip. Some people are curious and they do want to take a trip somewhere, but I think they generally want to avoid the Bermuda Triangle because they don't know what's going to happen to them. They might be picked up by UFOs or something. Because in my opinion, I think that there are extraterrestrials. And I'm going to use my crystal. And I'm going to ask that question. Are there extraterrestrials in the Bermuda Triangle? What's your opinion on that? Ooh, yeah. Woohoo! Ooh, extraterrestrials. they're amongst us here, but they don't want to be high. They don't want to be out in the open. They kind of hang out in places like the Bermuda Triangle. The Bermuda Triangle has a lot of strange things there. The Sargasso Sea, or what they were mentioning there, that's kind of a unique thing because it's in an ocean. They consider that kind of an unusual occurrence there. So the Bermuda Triangle has a lot of strange things there. And I think the extraterrestrials are controlling some of the things. I'm going to use that as a question. Are the extraterrestrials actually kind of doing some stuff to control the world from the Bermuda Triangle? What's going on there? Ooh, look at this. Yeah. Oh, the extraterrestrials. They're sending messages to the world from the Bermuda Triangle. The Bermuda Triangle, that's their headquarters there. So they want to be making sure that they're well hidden in the underworld or under the sea. And Ringo sang the song there. It was a Yellow Submarine. I'd like to be under the sea. No, that's Octopus's Garden. He did, we all live in the Yellow Submarine. Oh, they're probably using the Yellow Submarine in the Bermuda Triangle. I'm going to ask that as a question. Do they use a Yellow Submarine in the Bermuda Triangle? What is the story there? Do they use a Yellow Submarine? Oh, they don't use a Yellow Submarine. Yeah, that's kind of goofy, painting a submarine yellow. I mean, that's like a fire truck or something. The Hadley fire truck, they're yellow. I don't know, they're supposed to be red, but I guess they don't want to have red because that has bad connotations. They think that Satan's children are coming over to the fire there, so they have their fire trucks yellow. Most places have red fire trucks, but red has a kind of a bad reputation. You see red sports cars. I heard that the police like to stop red Corvettes when they see them driving down the road, even if they're not speeding. They kind of stop them just because they're red. So, if you're driving a red Corvette, you may want to change it to another color there, maybe a yellow Corvette or something. Most people don't even like Corvettes anymore. I think that they like the pickup trucks, the Ford F-150, the most popular vehicle in the United States, a pickup truck. Well, people have the pickup trucks because they like to be speeding on the road. I deliver items when I'm working on the job. If I see a pickup truck in the mirror, I start to get nervous there because they pass me all the time. All the time. They pass me. I see a pickup truck behind me. They think that they own the road. So they go behind me and then they'll cross a double yellow line. They'll pass me because they think that they own the road. Let me ask that question there. Oh, what do you think? Do these pickup drivers think that they own the road? What do you think about that? Oh, yeah. They think that they own the road. Oh, man. Yeah, those pickup truck drivers, I don't particularly like them, but, everybody thinks they're kind of cool, is that I got a big pickup truck and I can go zooming down the road. Okay, so we have some other questions here. I see I'm still getting my little messages from the Bermuda Triangle. As you can see, we got some flashes here. Flash there, flash. Yeah, there's the flash there. So we still have a communication there. And by the way, I don't know if I mentioned the name of this program that I'm doing here. It'll be at the beginning, the title, but so that was the name of the program because it's X is Latin from like exit. So I'm using a little Latin there. We need a little Latin in our lives there. I might as well have some fun with a little Latin there, huh? A little fun there. But, people do go over the Bermuda Triangle all the time, and things do happen, and they do have hurricanes all the time. The hurricanes are a big influence over there. But Puerto Rico is part of the Bermuda Triangle. Puerto Rico, part of the Bermuda Triangle. Ooh, yeah, look at that. And Puerto Rico has supposedly the worst electrical system in the world, or one of the worst. They break down all the time. Is that due to the Bermuda Triangle, the electrical system? Ooh, ooh, ooh. Oh, Puerto Rico, they're having all kinds of trouble because of the Bermuda Triangle. I personally think it might be a nice place to visit. I don't know if I'd want to live there. So, what do you think? Is Puerto Rico a nice place to visit? Oh, yeah, a nice place to visit. Would you like to live there at Puerto Rico? No. Is it because of the electrical system over there? Oh, yeah. I heard on the news that it breaks down all the time. It's like one of the worst electrical systems in the world because I think the Bermuda Triangle and these extraterrestrials are kind of doing experiments on Puerto Rico there. There's other places like the Bahamas and stuff. I don't know. What about the Bahamas? Do they have electrical problems in the Bahamas? Oh, they don't have electrical problems in the Bahamas. I wonder why that's happening. I don't have any explanation for that. I don't know. I mean, the Bahamas is classified as part of the Bermuda Triangle. I'm thinking maybe there's some kind of issue going on in Puerto Rico. Maybe the spirits just don't like Puerto Rico for some reason or other. There might be some kind of problem over there. Does Puerto Rico have anything to do with the voodoo? Is voodoo in Puerto Rico? No voodoo. Oh, guess not. No voodoo in Puerto Rico. Well, there's voodoo somewhere. Where is the voodoo? Voodoo in the Bahamas, maybe? No voodoo. I guess voodoo is not really part of the spirit world. It's kind of like a make-believe spirit world. There's a lot of things that happen at my house. I don't really think it's a coincidence. There's a lot of strange things that happen there. That's why I kind of like all this stuff, the Bermuda Triangle, the spirit world, the extraterrestrials. There's a lot of stuff that happens, that, I kind of like to be knowing about, but really the crystal will have to give me some answers. So I personally have some connection to the Bermuda Triangle. Would you say that? Nah. I'm not really connected to the Bermuda Triangle. But am I connected now with this special communicator? Well, the communicator is helping me to contact the Bermuda Triangle. But in my everyday life, I'm not really doing anything with the Bermuda Triangle. It just happens to be that I looked at this book here and I said, well, I guess I'm going to be discussing the Bermuda Triangle because every day is Halloween at the Bermuda Triangle. You want to go and have a Halloween party. You said, I'm going to head over to the Bermuda Triangle. I'm going to go over there and we're going to be having a beer party over there, and we'll be drinking, and some people might be going overboard, and you'll never see them again. You can invite your enemies to the Bermuda Triangle. Say, oh, come on over. We'll be having a beer party in the Bermuda Triangle, and they'll be guzzling down their beer, and then they disappear. Ooh, is that going to happen? They're going to go and drink beer at the Bermuda Triangle and disappear? Ooh, they might do that. Yeah. Is that what happened to some of the pirates? Some of the pirates years ago, they claimed that the pirates were going through the Bermuda Triangle and strange things happened. So did the Bermuda Triangle have an influence on the pirates going through the Bermuda Triangle? He's giving me a yes here. So that was before my time on my timeline there because people had what they call folklore, that people would be discussing things and they'd pass it on from generation to generation. It's folklore that people would be discussing things. I took folklore when I was at UMass, and I did get an A in folklore because I thought it was kind of fascinating. I think that people pass on a lot of information. I think that there's a lot of ghost stories that happen that people have heard about, and that's basically folklore. Now, are there ghosts in the Bermuda Triangle? Are there ghosts in the Bermuda Triangle? Well, according to the crystal, there are no ghosts in the Bermuda Triangle. So, I don't know. I didn't know that. I thought that there'd be ghosts everywhere. Are there ghosts in Puerto Rico? Well, yes, I guess there are ghosts in Puerto Rico. Are there ghosts in the Bahamas? Okay. Well, that's land, but the Bermuda Triangle is primarily like an ocean. I got it on my shirt here. So ghosts, are they kind of out on the ocean? The ghosts? No, they don't travel on the ocean or the waters. But there are ghost ships that do travel around, and there were people on the ghost ships. Tell me about the ghost ships now. There were ghost ships on the Bermuda Triangle. And the ghost ships supposedly had people, and people would find these so-called ghost ships, and sometimes there were no people on the ship. Is that correct? Now, this is one of those mysteries of the world there, that people have trips, and they'll go on a trip, and then I guess they enter and they never return. That's one of those things that happens to people. I think it's primarily in the Bermuda Triangle, but there are other places. I think there's a kind of a Bermuda Triangle area on the other side where Japan is. Is that correct? So there is another area off of Japan that does have some of the similar characteristics as the Bermuda Triangle, and that's really just the opposite of the Bermuda Triangle. So I don't think that's really a coincidence. It was just the opposite. Is that correct? The opposite side on the opposite side of the world of the Bermuda Triangle? Ooh, yeah. So I don't know. That's kind of strange. It's like, you really don't know what's going to be happening. You go travel on a trip, and then something happens, and that's going to be the end of that. So we're kind of getting close to the end of the program here. So I did need to ask a question here that from myself personally, is my house haunted? It's not haunted. Okay. Well, I'm always concerned that there's going to be some kind of strange occurrences there, but I think most of the strange occurrences happen in some of these other places there, like the Bermuda Triangle. So if you're interested, I guess there are programs available you could probably pick up from the library. So my suggestion is to yes, you might want to be picking up some kind of information from the library about the Bermuda Triangle. Is that a good thing? Yeah, that's pretty good. So that would be my recommendation. You could use the crystal, ask the questions there about the Bermuda Triangle. And like I said, some people believe in the crystal, some people don't. You can always try it out, see if it's going to work on your hand. You can go to the cemetery. You can try out different things with the crystal. You can go to the bathroom, flush a toilet, see what happens. The crystal does move by itself. You're not really turning it around. If you're there by yourself, you have your crystal, you can try it out. The crystal does have some kind of cosmic powers. I don't have any explanation about that. Does the crystal have anything to do with extraterrestrials? No, crystal doesn't really have anything to do with extraterrestrial. Does the crystal have anything to do with the spirit world? So the spirit world is kind of connected with the crystal because it's part of the earth, and the earth has certain powers there. I think that there's a lot of occurrences that might be explainable in the Bermuda Triangle, like hurricanes and stuff, but it does seem kind of strange that Puerto Rico does seem to get a lot of hurricanes and stuff there. So I'm going to be ending it here. I got one more question here. Will people believe you when they see you turning around? Yes or no? Are they going to believe you? They're not going to really believe. They're non-believers. Well, I don't know what to say about that, because you might want to try it out yourself and try out the crystal there. Like I said, I used the crystal for quite a number of years. One more thing about the crystal that I did, I used the crystal over the Bible. And what happens? I got everything on the Bible was a yes except for one book. Yes, is that correct? It went yes over all the books, but the book was the book of Revelation. The book of Revelation, and the crystal went which way? Counterclockwise over the book of Revelation. All the other books in the Bible went clockwise except for the book of Revelation there. And my theory about that, the book of Revelation was probably influenced by extraterrestrials. Was the book of Revelation influenced by extraterrestrials? We don't know what kind of extraterrestrials there, because there might be other types of extraterrestrials. Would you classify an angel as an extraterrestrial? Okay, so they do classify angels as extraterrestrials, so maybe there's some angels over there in the Bermuda Triangle. So maybe you need to be checking with your guardian angel and find out if you're safe to go on a trip there. I would always use your crystal before you go on a long trip. Is that a good idea? It's better safe than sorry. You don't want to be going on a trip and something happens there. You say, oh, I didn't check my crystal. I got a flat tire. Somebody whacked me from behind. Somebody did this. Somebody did that, So it's probably best to check with your crystal there. And the crystal's going to say, goodbye now, because it's time to leave the Bermuda Triangle and enter the real world. Is that correct? Alrighty. It says it's time to get back to reality. So I'm going to say, hasta la vista, baby. I'm all done.